Hello again, this is video 2, and in this I want to look at the help that's out there for you, specifically what's provided by the Charity Commission. Now the Commission has a great long list of guidance, and I'm only going to look at 2 of them, but I would encourage you to go and just go to the website and read the titles, because there is guidance there that you may never use, but there is useful guidance that you may find you need to use at some point in time. So if you know broadly what they've got, it makes life a lot easier for you. The one concern I have about the Charity Commission's guidance is they go in for very long titles. And on one level, that's helpful because you kind of get a feel of what they're going to talk about. But remembering it is very difficult. And I cannot remember the full title, so I'm going to have to look down at my cards, my notes. The first one I want to look at is CC3, the Essential Trustee, what you need to know, what you need to do. The second one is CC27. It's your decision, charity trustees, and decision making. You won't be surprised to find that I shorten them to CC3 Essential Trustee and CC27 Charity Decision Making. Both of those, if you put them into Google, will find you the guidance you want. So I'm going to start with CC3 Essential Trustee. And here they list the 6 main headings, your main duties as a trustee. And usefully, they then explain what they mean by those simple headings. I would encourage you to go to the website and read the guidance, download it, read it. I'm not going to look at all 6. I'm going to look at just 2, which I feel the sector really doesn't do as well as it should do. The first one is comply with your charity's governing document and the law. Your governing document, whatever it is, whether it's a trust deed, a memonarts, a royal charter, act of parliament, whatever, will lay out your charity's purposes and your powers as a trustee. You need to be familiar with those when you're fulfilling that role and when you're considering the papers you get. If you step outside your governing document, that is when the problems start. So make sure you've got a copy of it, read it, understand it, and keep it there for reference. The other one is to act in your charity's best interests. So that always is the case, even if personally you're not happy with it, or you can see some disadvantages, you must act in the best interests of the charity. But what happens if you're uncertain? Well, again, there's another piece of Charity Commission guidance. But basically what it says is you should always be prepared to take advice. Now, sometimes that's internal. You might go to the chair of trustees or the honorary treasurer or an experienced long-term trustee. If you have them, your chief executive and their senior staff. But ultimately, you should also be prepared to seek independent, appropriate, and timely professional advice. I know people worry about the cost, but actually it's cheaper to ask at the beginning of a process than to do so at the end when you've actually got a really big problem. So take the Commission's guidance and seek that timely and appropriate professional advice. And that's all I want to do on CC3, so I can now move quickly on to CC27 and decision making. Now this is for the big decisions, but even so, there are principles which you can apply to everything. It gives you 7 headings. And again, go to the website, download it, read it, because they explain what the headings mean. Again, I want to just look at just 2. And he's quickly looking at his notes. The first one is manage conflicts of interest and loyalty. This is something the sector does not do well. We have too many problems. What's the difference between a conflict of interest and loyalty? Conflict of interest, a trustee or senior staff has a financial interest in the decision making. They will benefit financially. Conflict of loyalty is where they are connected with another organization, which will benefit. Again, there is specific Commission guidance on this, handle it well. It protects your charity, but just as importantly, it protects the trustee. It helps answer the thing of where people say, oh, well, we know why X got that contract because. The most extreme example of managing it is to actually exclude the trustee completely from that part of the meeting. And that's sometimes the right thing to do. And then if anybody challenges it and says, oh, that's why so-and-so got the contract, that trustee was not part of the decision making. The next one is actually difficult. The words are difficult in the guidance, and I've actually got to look down at my notes to read them all. Make decisions that are within a range of decisions that a reasonable trustee body could make. I don't use words to explain this. I use an old-fashioned fan. Arms, out it opens, and in the center there's paper with a design on it. The arms are the outer limits of what is a reasonable decision. Everything in between is okay. You have to use your best endeavors to make the best choice for your charity. So as long as you stay within that arc, you're okay. You don't have to come to the center. You can go left, you can go right, you can go somewhere in between. As long as you don't move outside the arms of the fan. That's it. Now, all of this is a lot to take on, and you may think, what happens if I don't make the best or the right decision? I want to give you some comfort now. Within CC27, the Commission actually says it's okay to make mistakes. They put a caveat on that. They say you've got to take, good care. You've got to look at your 6 duties from CC3, your 7 headings under CC27. But if you do all of that and you've written it down, so you've got your records and you've retained them, and you've given it enough time, we don't expect perfection. And anyway, you don't have a crystal ball. So you can make a really good decision at the time, and then something happens in the future, and then that decision is not so good. And if you want an example which is still current with dealing with the tail end of it, it is simply COVID-19. Look at how that impacted the whole of society, including charities. I'll give you one final test, though. And this is not written down anywhere. It's given to me, and it's a really good one from my point of view. You know, if something goes wrong with the central heating boiler or with the car, the engineer comes in, or you take it to the garage, and then you ask them, how's it going? And they go, you know you're in trouble. So your last test is this. Stand outside your charity, be an outsider who's interested, and look at what's being proposed. And if you go, then it's probably better not to do it. And on that note, I'm going to say goodbye and look forward to seeing you in video 3. Thank you.